Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Fret, and welcome back to another FretroView. Today's game we're going to be going over Landstalker. Now this game I played quite a bit when I was a kid. Um, I was never really, well, we were into like role-playing games or RPGs. My oldest brother brought this game home. It's more like a Zelda-ish game. I wouldn't say it's exactly a Zelda clone, in my opinion, but it plays kind of like that. It's basically an adventure game, open world kind of, and you basically go on little wacky adventures. And as you explore, you find stuff and go into dungeons and progress the storyline, stuff like that. It's a pretty good game from what I remember. I recently replayed it. Got the video footage here. And I gotta say, I actually enjoyed my time with this. I'm gonna continue playing it and beat it again. I can't even remember if we beat it as a kid. I say we because I didn't play it myself. It was both of my brothers and me kind of joint playing it. So here's how it went. So, because like I said, I was a kid, so I could not make it through these dungeons. There was no way. So what we would do is my oldest brother would play like through the dungeons and the story and whatnot, and the middle brother and me would just sit back and watch during those segments. And then when like he had to go to work or whatever, we would he would tell me or my brother, the other brother, to just like kill things, and get money because there's no experience in this game. But every enemy drops either an item or they're guaranteed pretty much to drop money or gold. So I would just kill things over and over and over to get us a bunch of gold, so I can we can buy equipment or supplies like potions and herbs, armor and stuff like that. And then once he came home, he would decide what to buy, and then we would continue with the story because he'd be properly equipped, I guess. And that's how we did it. Yeah, it was a pretty good system. I enjoyed it. Um, yeah, so I guess with that little opening, we will go through. Now, the gameplay in this game is very simple. Nigel, well, I guess I should say that, well, we'll start with the story. Like I said, you play as Nigel. He's a treasure hunter. And when you boot up the game, you start, there's a little cutscene that goes, and it's Nigel, doing his thing. He's treasure hunting. He finds some treasure, and he takes it back to the mayor of a town, where he runs into a little fairy named Friday. And this is what starts his adventure. Friday there's there's a trio. I forget their name. I think it's Kayla, Ink, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But they're little goon squad. I think Team Rocket. They're kind of like that. And they're chasing Friday because she knows where this legendary treasure is or something like that. And Friday goes to Nigel and is like, help me, please. They're gonna, kidnap me or whatever. So Nigel agrees to protect Friday on the terms that she tells him about the treasure that she knows about. So they agree. Nigel grabs Friday and he runs off and dodges the little trio, the gang there. And then that starts his adventure. So Friday tells him about the treasure what she knows, and off they go. They ride a giant bird, which costs Nigel all of his money, to some island, and yeah, that starts his adventure. Now the gameplay is very, very simple. You have your basic attack, which is a single sword swing. You can spam it, so you can just swing indefinitely. There's no combo or anything. It's just the same animation over and over and over again. He has a jump, and that's pretty much it. Nigel can do nothing else. He can climb ladders and whatnot, pick up jars, things like that. He can inspect things, certain like signs and posters, but that's about it. There's very little on the combat side. He does have his energy, well, energy bar, but they're Zelda-esque, like I said. So he has hearts, which represents his health. You start off with 6, and you can find additional hearts called life stocks throughout the game. Each life stock gives you 1 additional heart, and yeah. Let's see. Now, when during combat, like I said, you do take damage. So once you reach 0 health, Nigel will pass out. Now, there is a herb called Eki Eki, and if you have Eki Eki on your person, when you pass out, Friday will use the herb to basically bring you back to life, or get raise Nigel back. So, and you can use those herbs individually before passing out, but I always kept mine. Like, I never healed myself. I just in case I fell in combat, Friday would get me back up. So I think you can carry up to 9, I believe, and then you can start using them just to restore your health. But yeah, like I said, I always just kept them on hand. I never really used them unless I passed out. So Friday can get me up. There are other items in the game. There's statues you get that kind of like spells, like it destroys everything on the screen. Like I said, there's different armors you can get. But the game's focus is not combat for most part. I mean, there are varied enemies, but they're all pretty much the same. They look different, but they all just they just move around on the screen. Like you got orcs, slimes, like snake dudes, like what are they? Mushrooms that run around. Like I said, but they all pretty much do the same thing. They're just movement. Like you get hit even if you just make contact with them. They don't actually have to do their attack. What else? I can't really think of anything else in regards to combat. It's most again, like I said, the game's not much on the combat. It's very puzzle heavy though. So there's a number of puzzles that you'll be doing in the open world and in the dungeons that'll take up most of your time. Most of the dungeons that I encountered or puzzles were not that difficult. There were some that were annoying because you have to, I guess, rely on luck for the most part, and then you just have to keep trying over and over and over again until you get lucky and things go your way. There's one puzzle, I'll probably put it up at some point in this playthrough. It's basically there's 2 balls. One has spikes and the other does not, and you have to jump on the green ball and ride it so you can jump on this elevated platform. But it seems like the balls they just move around randomly. There's little buttons that you can step on to like stop the balls and like kind of push them like in a different direction. But it was a pain. Like it took me, I think, at least 30 minutes to get this thing to do what I wanted to do. So I just had to keep leaving the room and then coming back to the room and then going back in. And when I failed, and the spike ball kept hitting me, so I kept dying. Now there are shops in the game where you can pick up supplies, things like that. Most of the shops just have the herbs, like antidotes, restorative, eki plants. One place they usually have life stocks where you can purchase one. They're pretty expensive though, for the most part. There also you have your inns. I never use them because it costs to stay in an inn is 5 more gold than just buying an eki plant. So I just buy the eki plant and skip sleeping at inns. There may be something other beneficial to it. If it is, I don't know, but that's what I do. At the inns they also have like a map, so which is sad that you can only look at the map at the inn. You would think Nigel, as an explorer or an adventurer, would have a map on him, but whatever. But yeah, you can look at the map at the inns, and I think that's about it at the inn. There is a church that you can go to save your progress in the game, and he also has other services like curing, I guess, illnesses. I haven't encountered an illness yet in the game, but there's all kind of things that he can cure there. And that pretty much covers the gameplay. Let me see if there's anything I'm missing. Not that I know of. Let's see. We went over there. Like I said, there's swords you can get. Um, During my gameplay, I did get the fire sword, or I think that's what it's called. But it's basically there's a little icon in the upper left hand side of the screen, and it's basically a charge gauge. It's like a little sword. When you're just moving around and not swinging your sword, that gauge will charge. And when the sword is fully charged, your sword is briefly powered up on your first swing. And once you swing, the gauge empties and you have to wait. I think it's about 30 seconds for it to charge all the way up. And then you have another like charge swing. There is an animation, at least for the fire sword. If you strike an enemy, it shows like them burning for like a quick second. I guess that's to let you know that they did take the additional damage. It's a nice little animation. Other than that, yeah, you'll mostly spend your time exploring. Now, this game's asymmetrical angle is quite annoying. The game does use that to its advantage, I guess you could say, because it does hide like steps or treasure chests and stuff in the angles where you can't see. So, without a guide or previously playing this game, you'll miss a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff I did remember from playing as a kid, but there were some things that I did miss or can't, or whatever. So yeah, like you'll find, like I found it way easier this playthrough because there were things that I remembered playing through. I did have to look at a guide because I got stuck on pretty early in the gameplay. It's so when you're in this village, there are bears, I guess, and I was moving right along, and I got stuck once I rescued the little girl bear. And there's this guy named Pockets who said I guess there was a statue you're supposed to get in the mayor's cabin, but the problem is I couldn't see the idol. Like it just looked like a piece of the background. Like an item that's there but you can't really interact with. So I had no idea. So I searched around the village for like hours, and I was like, you know what? Let me just look at a guide. And then the guy was like, yeah, you just got to pick this idol up on the shelf. And I was like, you can pick that up? The one thing I didn't remember as a kid, probably because my brother did it, not me. So that's things like that you'll get stuck on. It'll be the most like obvious but not obvious thing. And I think that goes a lot with a lot of these retro games. They do that on purpose. Just, I don't say they're padding out the time, but you really have to inspect your environment. Like there's another one. I didn't get lost on this one too much, but I did realize, I think it was like the third dungeon. There was a statue you had to push, and I knew I had to do something with it, but I missed it the first attempt, and so I scoured the dungeon until I made my way back to the statue, and then I just happened to push it, and so that one wasn't too bad. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. You really gotta mess with everything. But that really covers the gameplay. So next we will go over to the sound. Now, what was this? Was the sound next? All right, Mr. Fred, let me take a look at the notes. Yep. Now, according to this, graphics is up next, sound is after. Let's go over to now the graphics of the game. The game looks pretty good. It is, I gotta say, it is animated well. They really took the time to do the detail of the game. let's see. I do like that Nigel is animated. His walking animation, it's really detailed. I don't know how many frames it is, but it's really good. I like his design. He has a real adventurer look. I want to say this game was based on an anime, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look because I don't have the manual, but I remember the manual when I was a kid, and it was animated in that anime style, or where I say illustrated in the anime style. At least I remember. I might have to put an image up if I remember to. Um, let's see. Ah, I want to say most of the enemies are animated pretty well. The only thing I don't like about the enemies is that they're when you're fighting them. I want to say like when you strike them, they do have a knockback, which is pretty good. There's no animation though to show that they were hit. They just have like a little. They kind of blink, you know, so to let you know then they get knocked back. Some enemies do have an attack animation, but like I said, they don't actually have to physically hit you with that to damage you. So they can just run into you and hit you. But then they also have an attack animation as well. Um, let's just say most of the attack animations look okay. One armored enemy does have a block, which I thought was cool when I encountered him. And yeah, he actually has a block animation. He has a great sword, and he puts it in front of himself to block your attack, which is pretty good. Pretty good animation. Like I said, there's no during my gameplay, I didn't really use most of the items. Like I said, I think it's the Gaia statue that you can use, and like I said, it basically destroys every enemy on the screen. That little effect was pretty cool. It's kind of like stones falling from the sky. The animation's pretty cool. The whole screen shakes, and rocks. You can see rocks falling from the ground. The animation is not too bad. It's a pretty good effect. I imagine there's more statues or more elemental statues that you can use. I only ran into the Gaia statues for the most part. Yeah. Let's see. Animation. The scenery is not too bad. You start out in a little foresty area. All the I would say the dungeons. I've only played the earlier dungeons. The good thing is they don't all look the same. They're mostly in different color tones. Like the first dungeons, it's kind of like a watery cave or a waterfall cave, I think it is. So it's like blue greenish. The second dungeon is more. I think this is your standard cave, so it's kind of like brown tones, or like yellowish. So at least they basically tried to make the caves match the tone of the area that you're in. So yeah, not too bad. And the water's animated. It's only like 2 or 3 frames or cycles, so it's not too animated, but for the time, it's not too bad. I want to say that's pretty much it for the graphic, at least for what I've seen. There was one good animation that I saw. It's at the beginning of the game in the opening cutscene where Nigel he's riding a giant bird that has goggles on. I think it's like an eagle or whatever, or a falcon. But I thought that was pretty cool, especially for the time. It's just a giant bird. He has these goggles on. I guess that's what he rides to get to the island where the legendary treasure is. I thought that was pretty neat. I don't think that's pretty much it for the graphics. Nothing too crazy. So next, I guess we'll go over to. Now the sound of the game is not too bad either. Nigel himself doesn't really have any sound bites. When he is struck and damaged, he does make a little sound. It sounds more like a baby being hit than a grown man, but I don't know if that's because he's an elf or whatever, or I think he's an elf because he has pointed ears. But yeah, there's no, there's a lot of text in the game, so they use the little beeping noises when there's text on the screen from people talking, and they do vary the sound of the beeping for each character. Like Friday's beep is high pitched, Nigel's is about mid, and then like your standard NPCs that you talk to, I think they all use the same, except if it's a child talking, like then it's another high pitched like beep or whatever. Um, that's a sound wise. There's a nice sound animation when Nigel swings his sword. They don't vary up, so it's the same swing noise every time. There is a sound bite when you kill an enemy, which is like a little scream. I thought that was funny. It sounds like it cuts off, like they didn't have that much storage or memory to hold all the sound. So when you destroy an enemy, it does like a little scream, and then while it's screaming, it cuts off. At least that's what it sounds like to me. I'll let you guys hear it so you can tell. But yeah, I found that funny. So every time I kill an enemy, they die, and then it just gets cut off. What else? The sound's not too bad. They have like little buttons and stuff you can jump on doing puzzles, and they all make a little sound. One sound I think is from Mario 64. When you step on a button, you hear the little noise. I can't remember what the noise is from. It's from hitting one of those blocks. Not the question mark blocks, but the like in Mario World, there was the colored blocks, like the green and the. You'll hear it. If I find the sound bite, I'll play it. You'll probably recognize the sound too if I do find it. All right, sorry to interrupt again, Mr. Fred. It's me again. My name's Undogwe, by the way, and the sound that you were referring to would be the sound of the pause screen from Super Mario World. Let me double check just to confirm. Yes, Super Mario World pause screen. It actually sounds like this. So there you go. But yeah, the sound's not too bad. The music is okay. The open world sound. Well, when you're out in the open world, there's a little tune that plays. It's pretty catchy. Because I think it's the only sound in the open world, the only music in the open world that plays. Like it doesn't really vary up unless you go into a town or like a dungeon. But it's like I say, your open world sound. If that's the only one you have, you're going to want to have that to be at least catchy, so you don't get tired of it. And I think they achieved that here. It's not too bad. At least I never got tired of it myself. The town music does vary up. Like if you're in the starting village, the Gummy Village, I think it is, or whatever, or Masan, one of them. It's like a little high pitched, upbeat music, and then when you get to the second town, right, Ryoma, I don't know what it's called, but like I said, the music there is a little bit different. More, yeah. So they do vary up the sound from village to village. Like I said, the overworld music stays the same pretty much throughout the game, at least from what I've played so far. But yeah, sounds pretty good, not too bad. They could use a little bit more sound effects, like when Nigel gets knocked out, he screams. I always found that funny. It's not the same scream that the enemies have, but it's still funny. Like he just passes out. I'm like, how did he pass out? If he screams, but he's passed out. It's weird. But I think that's about it for Landstalker. It's a pretty good game. I do recommend it if you like. I don't know what you would call it. It's an RPG. Well, no, I guess it's not an RPG. I would say it's more just an action adventure game. I say more adventure platforming, because there's a lot of jumping and platforming in this game. Like I said, the asymmetrical angle really makes it hard to do jumping or platforming puzzles. And if you play the game, you'll see why, because you can't really tell where you're jumping. It'd be different if Nigel had a shadow so you can see, or if the platforms you were jumping on had cast shadows then you can see, where you are when you're in the air, but you can't. It's awkward, and the camera angle does not change. It's the same angle throughout the game. Um, so I don't know if they wanted it that way, just to mess with us, but yeah, you'll see. You'll it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so right now we're at the section where I shut my mouth and let you guys listen and take a look. And here we go. that is Landstalker. Like I said, a pretty good game. I'm gonna continue playing it just so I can make it to the end. And I am interested in the story, and I want to see if I can find the rest of these legendary swords. But yeah, I do recommend it. I do recommend it if you can find it. I'm not sure, how many. Like, I don't know how many copies of this game was out. I don't remember anyone really talking about this game as a kid. Like, it wasn't the word on the street. Um, but I enjoyed it. Not many people played like action role playing games in my neighborhood anyway. It's pretty much just me and my brothers that I know of anyway. But yeah, I do recommend it. But yeah, again, if you guys stuck around this long, I appreciate you watching. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye bye.